Good morning, everyone. In a previous class, we have read about major landforms and how the major landforms means the landscape. In the landscape, various landforms comes. They include mountains, plains, plateaus, and all, and how they are being continuously worn away. Continuously worn away means they are continuously disappearing or becoming thinner or smaller day by day. And for this, two processes were responsible for that of making the our landscape disappearing or thinner or smaller change to make the changes in the landscape. Two processes we have understood. First was weathering and second was erosion. Weathering, we have understood that it was the breaking up of rock in the on the earth's surface, and erosion due to the agents of erosion. Which are the agents of erosion? We have talked about that agents of erosion are water, wind, and ice. So, due to the work of these agents of erosion, the wearing away of the carrying away of the upper part of the soil is carried away. The upper part of the soil is carried away landscape, and thus it brings changes in the landscape also. Then that erosional sediments are deposited at another place in the form of deposition, and then the process of erosion and deposition is created. Then we have read about the work of the river, in which we have read about how the waterfall is formed by trembles, means by moving at the steep angles over the hard surface. Then it comes down to the slope, and then it falls down in the form of waterfall. Then next, after waterfall, we have seen when that river enters to the plain area, it twists and turns because no particular path is there to move forward, and so it twists and turns, and thus the meander is formed. Then after the continuous erosion and deposition, we have seen that these meanders loops comes closer and closer, and in the time passage of time, they cut off from the main river and forms Oxbow Lake. This is the third formation of the work of the river. That is first waterfall, second meander, third Oxbow Lake. Fourth, when due the flood is there, when the water is in the fast speed and the flood appears, and the due to the flooding of the areas, the sediments along the banks, the sediments are deposited along the banks, which led in the formation of this flat fertile plains. And the flat fertile plains, again, raised banks are there at the side, and these are called as leaves. So this was the work of the river. Next, after the leaves, we have seen that when the speed of the river slow down, it breaks up into the number of branches known as distributaries, and each distributary forms its own mouth, forming the delta. So I think this much was clear, everybody. Then we have also seen in our previous class the work of sea waves. Due to the work of sea waves, how the sea waves work, that means they continuously strike at the rocks in the sea, and then after the continuous strike, the cracks develop in the rocks, and these become larger and wider and becomes the hollow like caves. So sea caves in the form of sea caves is there. Then sea caves changes into sea arcs. How that after the means continuous uh, striking of the sea waves is there on the same rock, then due to the continuous and after the passage of time, this continuous due to this continuous striking of the sea waves of the same rock, the sea caves turns to the sea arc, like this. And then further, due to the erosion and breaking of the roof and wall, now roof and wall all are broken down, and it takes the feature like a stack. Only the standing pillar, a type of standing pillar is remaining, that is called as stack. and after that the just vertical above the sea what rocky coast, it is the sea cliff, and the sediments which deposit at the shores of the sea is called the beaches. So this all we have read in our previous class. Now work of the ice. Today we will begin with the work of the ice. Now glaciers. In the work of the ice, main work is of the glacier. That is glacier. What are glaciers first? You can underline this. Glaciers are river of ice which to erode the landscape by bulldozing soil and stones to expose to the solid rock below the means sea level, below the water. So you can underline this. What is glacier? Glaciers are the river of ice which to erode. Erode means which to gradually destroy. Slowly they to destroy the landscape by bulldozing. By bulldozing means by moving away soil and stones to expose. How they will expose the solid rock below? They will expose means will make visible means these soil and stones, they are moved by the work of the glacier, and then finally the beneath the solid rocks are clearly visible when the soil and stones are carried away by the river of ice that is called as glacier. Now glaciers carve out deep hollows there. Now how glaciers work? Glaciers carve. Glaciers carve means glaciers cut out deep hollows deep inside the water as the ice melts. And as soon as the ice start melting of the glaciers, because glaciers are the river of ice. So as the ice melts, they get filled up with the water and become beautiful lakes. So how lakes are formed? When the ice melts, the ice of the glaciers melts, they get filled up with the water and make beautiful lakes in the mountains. So in this way, lakes are formation of lakes is there. The material carried by the glacier. Now, when the glaciers are moving a river of ice, so when they are moving, they carry rocks and big, the material carried by glaciers, such as rocks, big and small, sand and silt. Means whatever while moving, they are carrying away the things with them, such as rocks, big and small rocks. They are carrying also sand and silt, that means the upper layer gets deposited, and they get this all gets deposited at another place. And this, when the the sand, silt and small or big pieces of rocks get deposited, that is collected at some other places, that this deposition is called as glacier moraines. You can underline this. What are glacier moraines? The material carried by the glacier, such as rocks and big and small, sand and silt, get collected at another place. These deposits are called as glacier moraines. The word moraine means, what does the word moraines means? Moraines means the material left behind by the moving glacier. Now, here glacier moraines is there. That means the material left behind by the moving glacier. Now, whatever material is left, the material is big and small rocks, sand, and silt. So, they are the material left behind the moving glacier, and then it takes the form of glacier moraines. I hope it is clear. Now, work of the wind. Next topic, what is the work of the wind? How the wind works in the changing of our landscape. Have you ever visited a desert? Now, question arises that have you ever visited a desert? If you have ever visited a desert, then this will be made more clear to you. It will be very much clear to you how this work of wind uh, helps in the formation of a different type of landscape. Now, an active agent of erosion and deposition in the desert is wind. So, which is an active agent of erosion and deposition in the desert? It is the wind. And studying about the work of wind. So, work of wind is which is the active agent of erosion and deposition in the desert. So, the active agent of erosion and deposition in the desert is wind. In deserts, you can see rocks in the shape of mushroom, commonly called as mushroom rocks. So, what are mushroom rocks? In the desert, rocks in formed in the shape of mushroom, they are called as mushroom rock. Winds erode the lower section of the rock more than the upper part. So, when the wind moves in the desert area, it erode. I had already given the meaning. It gradually destroys the lower section. Lower section means lower part of this rock more than the upper part, means the rock formed by the work of the wind. How it works, that it erodes, it destroys the uh, upper part. It does not destroy the upper part, but it strikes, the moving wind strikes more the lower part of the rock, and thus it takes the form of mushroom rock. As you have seen, if you have ever observed, that mushroom is in the shape of like this. On the top it is uh, very wide, and from the bottom it is little thin. So when the winds erode the lower section of the rock more than the upper part, it takes the form of a mushroom. Therefore, such rocks have narrower base and wider top. As I already said, that it has a narrower base, thin base, and the wider part on the top. When the wind blows, it lifts and transports sand from one place to another. When it stops blowing, the sand falls and get deposited at in the low hill like structures. So this is the work of wind, that when the wind blows and means in the speed it is blowing, then it carries the sand in the desert with it. And when the speed or slows down on all the, or the wind stops blowing in the desert, then it deposited, means it gets collected at the wind which is carried the sand which is carried away by the wind, uh, it gets collected at another place, and means it is deposited in the form of low hills like structures, and these low hill like structures are called as sand dunes. Thus we see the sand dunes in the desert areas, how they are formed, that when the wind stops blowing, the sand falls and get deposited in the form of low hill like structures, and these are called as sand dunes. When the grains of sand are very fine and light, the wind can carry it over very long distances. And when the grains of the sand are very fine, very light in weight, then the wind which is blowing in the desert, it can carry that fine granules of sand with it to the long distances. And when such sand is deposited in the large areas, it is called loess. And then when this sand is deposited, first is it is carried to the very long distances by the wind, and when it get deposited in the large areas, it is called as loess. So large deposits of loess is found in China. And where are these large deposits of loess found? They are found in China. So here we come to an end of the lesson. Anybody who has not understood anything, if you cannot ask just now, you can ask in our next class also. Read the lesson till here, and if you are not able to follow anything, you can ask me. Clear? Now, after this, I'm giving you today. I will give you the PDF of question and answers. This way, I will show it to you here. This type of PDF I'm going to give you, in which very short question answers will be there. In this very short type of questions, 8 questions are there. You have to do all these question answers in the notebook. So this will be the first PDF of this lesson which I am giving you, which will consist of very short questions. And then I have also marked tick the correct answer. This is all given in your book. Tick the correct answer and match the following. So answers I have given directly of the match the following, which is in your book. You can open your book and you can check that also. There also the same as the following which are there, which I have given is there in the book. But the thing is that I have given directly the answer, that glacier are river of ice. Glaciers are river of ice. Meanders are rivers. Beach will be match the beach with the seashore. They are present in the seashore. Sand dunes, they are in the desert. And waterfall, they fall from the hard bedrock. And earthquake, these are the vibration on the of the earth. So this is the direct answer I have given of match the following. And a note is given here that complete the very short question answers in the notebook, and mark tick the correct and match the following in the textbook. That means you have to mark the tick the correct answer and match the following in the book itself. No need to do it in the notebook, but in the notebook you have to do the very short question and answers. Am I clear? Now, first question I have given is of the book only. Why do plates move? The first question of your book. Why do the plates move? The answer is plates move because of the movement of molten magma inside the earth. As we have already read in the lesson, that why do plates move? The lithospheric plates are there inside the earth. So these plates move because of the movement of molten magma. Hot molten magma is present deep inside the earth. When they move in the circular direction, that helps the plates also move slowly. Clear? And what is erosion? Erosion is wearing away of landscape by different agents like water, wind, and ice. So, what is erosion? Erosion is carrying away of the landscape. A landscape I have given mountain, plateaus, plains. So, whatever the upper layer is carried away by the agents of water, wind, and ice, it is termed as erosion. Now, how are beaches formed? The sea waves deposit sediments along the seashores, and this leads to the formation of beaches. What is a volcano? A volcano is a vent, or we can say opening in the earth crust through which molten magma erupts suddenly. Magma erupts means it comes out suddenly, on that is termed as volcano. Then what is meander? The fifth question. As the river enters the plain, it twists and turns, forming large bands known as meanders. What is seismograph? An earthquake is measured with the machine called as seismograph. And what is the name of the scale used to measure earthquake? This is the used to measure machine used to measure is seismograph, and the scale which is used to measure the earthquake, that is the magnitude of the size of the earthquake is measured. Magnitude means the size of the earthquake is measured by on the Richter scale. This is the seventh question and last eighth question. What are distributaries? The river begins to break up into number of streams, and they are called as distributaries. So all these 8 questions, this is my first PDF in which I have given very short question answers. You have to do it in the notebook, but tick the correct and match the column. You just mark in the book only. And after this, again, I am going to give you, to not today, but tomorrow or whenever in our next class, video uploading or live class will be there, I will give you the next PDF. Next PDF, very short and sorry, short and long questions will be there, and those short and long questions you have to do it in the notebook. Even the diagrams will be there. Last, a note will be written that draw the diagram of, uh, I have given a volcano, that is figure 3.2, and figure 3.3 origin of an earthquake, and figure 3.5 features made by the river in floodplain. So three diagrams are given in the last of the second PDF. This is the first PDF. First PDF, just you have to do very short question answers. Clear? In the notebook. Second PDF, very short, is not given. Only short and long question answers are given. You have to do it in the notebook. Plus the diagram part also you have to do it in the notebook. Am I clear? If you are not able to follow anything, you can ask me directly also, or in the WhatsApp group also. You are free to ask. Anything else remaining? Okay, fine. So that's all for today. Once in our next class, uh, I will give the. We will first discuss the very short question and answers. Sorry, short and long question answers. Clear? Thank you.